Jesse, I just beat Sekiro. What should I play now? Yo, Mr. White! Try Furi, it's really good, yo! Challenging games are cool. I'm not doing a hot take here, everyone knows that. But I just wanted to say that I love challenging games. The feeling of conquering some ridiculous game is the best feeling for me. It's like a hardcore drug, honestly. I always search for more. What developers are always struggling with is to find that thin, fragile balance between challenging, hard, and straight up bullshit. There are also baby mode games, but that is not the topic of today's video. I beat Boshi, Ninja Gaiden, Punch Out, I platinumed all of the Souls games, MJR No Hit Run Revengeance, which I will definitely never even attempt to do again, and this horse. So, after playing all of this stuff, I can definitely say that half of the games I played were fair, and, well, a lot of them were complete bullshit. In which section does Furi fall in? In my opinion, it stands right in the middle. It achieves that perfect balance of being challenging and at the same time not that frustrating.
Just like that? Why are you making this video then?
Well, let's just first answer the following question. What is Furi? Furi is a boss rush game, and the only thing you do in this game is fight bosses. And to be fair, boss rush games were never my cup of tea. But Furi succeeded in hooking me in. Maybe it was because I was just lingering for that Sekiro combat style, or maybe it was the cool art style of the game. Or it might have been the soundtrack. It's honestly hard to tell. But what is easy to tell is that the combat system in this game feels really good. The camera shake, the CQC mode,
Your CQC is sloppy.
the slashy grabs, all of that feels really nice. The game replicates Sekiro style of combat, where you need to parry or dodge the boss's attacks and slash them when they let their guard down. But even that will get stale sometimes, so they spice it up with a little bit of bullet hell parts. First of all, I want to state my opinion on these so-called bullet hell games. I absolutely despise them. And you have to take into consideration, I have 300 hours in Bindings of Isaac and I beat Enter the Gungeon a billion of times. I am super in these games. But the whole idea of mixing sword parry slash combat with bullet hell sections seemed fun. It did seem fun. Second, you have to do any possible thing to entertain the player, because boss rushes tend to quickly become repetitive and boring, so you need something to keep the player hooked. Before I start my thing, let's appreciate some other things. The game's music and visuals are phenomenal. Same as Ruiner, the game makes you nod your head to the beat while you play. The only thing that fell off for me is, well, when the bosses do their one-liners at the end, I really wanted the soundtrack to go goblin mode, like in that other game that nobody played. Now, there are 10 bosses in the game, and I want to be completely transparent with you guys. I beat the game twice on regular and hard difficulty, and 6 of these bosses are complete and utter garbage. Bullet hell sections become a chore. They are not hard, they are not fun, they are straight up boring. And most importantly, they become the main aspect of the game. One and only one question remains.
Why?
You have this highly polished and awesome sword fighting. Your character is a Ronin looking samurai dude. Why on God's dick would you think that these run and gun sections are your strongest aspect?
Here's a real high-class bout. And begin!
If it was for one boss, then I would go like, yeah, well, it's just one boss, but it's not one boss. It's actually every boss. Because the thing is, On their last death blow, or so to say, the boss will go crazy and start the bullet hell section. If it was for that one part, I would be okay with that, but it's not. Some of the bullet sections are insufferable and just anti-fun. Not because they're hard, more than half of them are super easy, it's just they're so fucking long, man. I just want to slash someone with my sword. I don't want to just wait till the boss lets me play the fucking game. Because I forgot to mention, while they're doing these bullet hell section parts, usually the bosses are invulnerable. So you stand there like an idiot, waiting for them until they're done so you can attack them. I hate boss fights like these. Legit boss helicopter mechanics. Remember Moonlight Butterfly in Dark Souls, everyone's favorite boss? This is what Furi is. Spoiler alert, I guess, but the last boss is not a climactic sword fight that you would expect. No, it's the most clanky bullet hell section of the entire game, where you fly around in a spaceship pew 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 pewing into a giant robot head. What the absolute fuck? And this boss is the secret last boss. Secret in huge quotations, of course, and we will get into this a bit later. This is the actual last boss.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
That's right, it's Mikolash.
Oh, majestic!
Have fun running around here while dodging lasers. Now, Mr. Strongman, show me Sekiro last boss fight.
Sekiro!
Impressive, very nice. Now, show me Bloodborne last fight. Very nice. Now, Metal Gear Rising last boss fight.
Don't fuck with this, Senator!
Look at that awesome QTE section. The tasteful music sync of it. Oh my god, it even has a one-liner. And why do you think I despise these shooting sections so much? Well, let's take something into consideration. Your character has only two defense functions. It is parry or dash. And with parry it is pretty straightforward. You press the button and your guy has a very small time window of deflecting the attack and then healing a little bit of HP. And now we have the dash move. I'm so glad my last video was on Ruiner. Just look at how satisfying the dash is in that game. So smooth and precise. In this game, dashing feels this good. You want to know why? Because the dash has an inexcusably long input delay.
Get good. Learn to play.
Wait, hear me out. The thing is, the developers of this game must really love charging stuff. I don't know why, maybe they all use Apple product or something, but you can pretty much charge anything in this game. Charge attack, charge the sword, charge the blade, and charge the dash. If only I could have charged my money back for this game. Charging the dash is on the same button as the dash, so if you played enough games from indie developers, you already know what I'm getting at. Because of the charge mechanic, which is useful for like 2 times throughout the game, mainly because you stand fucking still while doing so, gives your dash a very inconsistent input delay, which could be solved by separating the charge dash and the regular dash to 2 separate keys, which could be done fairly easy to be honest, because the game uses only half of the controller's buttons. And the main issue with this delay is it messes with your brain heavily, because the parry comes out instantly, while the dash has this tiny delay. Sometimes. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it feels like sometimes the dash comes out instantly and other times it comes out with a delay. So the second I saw a laser, I was basically praying, oh please let this dash work, please almighty lord.
This is my masterpiece.
During the bullet crap sections, you can rarely parry, and you have to rely on the dash and positioning, which you can't, because all of the attacks in this game rely on you dashing, and the dash itself is completely broken. If the dash move was working properly, it still would make enter the dungeon sections awful, but at least not insufferable. Again, I would have no problem with them if they were a gimmick and not the main focus. Boss design in this game is as inconsistent as pretty much everything else. There are bosses that can be considered masterpieces, and then there is Sniper Whore and Old Scout. Let's start with the good bosses. These three are my absolute favorites by far. And this one is good, but he's just too easy. The many-face guy is way easier, but he's supposed to be like that, because he's the first one. All these four bosses have not only the best fights, but also the best lore. Kinda like an MGR, you don't know nothing about them before the encounter. You have only the slight briefing from your fanboy bunny friend, and the rest of the story tells the fight itself. Let's take Yasuo, or I meant Jetstream Sam, as an example. No, not the Brazilian one, this one. If this game was this entire fight, I would be happy. The tension, the atmosphere, the moveset, the voice acting, the background, that's what makes this fight brilliant. There are some rough edges here and there, but they're all forgivable. So, you know the developers had to make sure this fight lasts for about 2 minutes. Which is super unique, because usually the bosses take like 5 to 8 minutes to kill. Oh, and he also does not have a bullet section part, so there's just even more extra points.
You move well. You're reading me quite quickly. Let's see how predictable you think I am now. Nice.
Now let's talk story. We're not going to dive extremely deep here, because there is simply not really much to dive into in the first place. The story is short and pretty simple. Remember what I said in my last video? Of course you don't, because nobody watches my videos, but that is not what's important. Ruiner also was a very short and simple game, with a pretty simple story. Ruiner's story was very strong though, because it was told correctly, and this game also has a similar kind of storytelling. But Ruiner had a slight plot twist at the end which tied the whole lore together, letting you on some wise and what the fuck is even going on thought in your head. But it did not give you too much information for it to not get convoluted and remain mysterious. Well, this game also has a plot twist at the end which explains everything, and ladies, gentlemen, and all others, please welcome the genius plot twist of Furi.
Aliens, of course. But of course.
Aliens, yes. This is the most lazy writing I have ever witnessed, and this is accompanied by one of the worst bosses ever created. What? Basically, everything that is wrong with this game can be summarized with this one boss fight. You run around after this bitch trying to hit her with her pistol, and sometimes she'll just run away like it's nothing. Then you can hit her a bit and do it all over again. Then comes the fun part where she turns invisible and the fight becomes cool, kinda like Smoke Bomb Monsoon fight. Then the obnoxious bullet section, of course, which I think is the only one that's legitimately hard, and then you insta-kill her. This is dogshit boss design. Not only do you have to chase the bitch for eternity, you have to dodge tiny robots, and to be honest, everyone loves when the boss swarms you with summons. It's like in the top 1 of the best boss mechanics. And you have the awful bullet hell part to top it off. It's just so fun. Now come the subjective complaints. I feel like this game needs a little bit of blood. The story highly emphasizes that you kill innocent people, but seeing a bunch of micro schemes after you pierce them with a sword just feels so damn weak. And while you're not fighting with the bosses, you're walking. And it takes takes a while for you to get somewhere in this game. Not to mention your guy can get stuck on a rock, and after that you will realize that there is an invisible wall before you, so you go around for another 10 minutes. You can also press the auto walk button so your character will go exactly where he needs, but he can get stuck even on auto walk. How do you fuck this up? How? The game is just a major disappointment for me from all fronts. It does not strike me as a Sekiro-like parry-dodge combat, as there is so little of it, and bosses have like 3 to 4 attacks each. It doesn't work as a bullet hell, as your only defense option is severely unreliable, and it doesn't work as a cool story game because
aliens.
And what's more disappointing about this game is that it could have been a 10 out of 10 game. They had every single component they needed to make the game perfect, and then they just said, fuck it, let's go weirdo mode. It did not pay off. There are a ton of games who do the same thing, but that's topic for a later video. So, is the game worth it? Yes.
Huh?
I bet you're surprised to hear that. Despite this game being as rough as a sandpaper clipping, I still think it's good. Well, good might be a little too much. It all depends on where you set the bar of quality for this game. For me, the bar is set up pretty high, so that's obvious the game has to try really hard for it to impress me. But if you take the bar low enough so the current era AAA games could at least try to participate in it, Furi looks like a masterpiece. Where am I getting with this? I don't actually know. Furi is a very unique, enraging at parts experience. But it gets carried hard by these fights, which just makes me boot the game all over again so I can beat their asses once more.